There are moments in life when you realize that the future you once imagined was actually far too small. You thought you understood what was possible. You created a picture in your mind, and you believed you had a reasonable idea of where life might take you. But sometimes, life has a way of surprising you. Sometimes the future is preparing something far greater than anything you could have planned on your own. And that is what I want you to understand when I say, my future wife, get ready for something big. I don't mean that everything will suddenly become perfect. I don't mean that we will wake up one morning and discover that every dream has already come true. Real life doesn't work that way. Something meaningful is built slowly. It requires patience, courage, learning, sacrifice, and the willingness to keep moving when the path isn't completely clear. But I believe that if two people are willing to grow, dream, work, and support each other, the possibilities can become much bigger than either person imagined at the beginning. Maybe right now you have your own dreams. Maybe there are things you've always wanted to experience, places you've wanted to see, goals you've wanted to accomplish, and a version of yourself you've been trying to become. I want you to know that your dreams don't have to disappear just because our paths eventually come together. In fact, I believe the right relationship should make you feel more capable of becoming who you are meant to be. I don't want us to create a life based on limitations. I want us to look at the possibilities and ask a different question. What if we can do more? What if the life ahead of us can be more meaningful than the life we once expected? What if the challenges we face aren't signs that we should stop, but opportunities to become stronger, wiser, and more prepared? That doesn't mean chasing a perfect life. Perfection isn't the goal. Progress is. Growth is. Building something real is. There may be days when things don't go according to plan. There may be moments when one of us feels uncertain, tired, or discouraged. There may be seasons when our dreams seem further away than they did before. But those moments won't define the entire story. What matters is what we do next. We can learn. We can adjust. We can encourage each other. We can stand back up and continue. And I want you to understand something else. When I say something big is coming, I'm not talking only about money, success, possessions, or achievements. Those things can be useful, but they aren't the whole meaning of a great future. Something truly big can be the peace of knowing you're with someone who respects you. It can be building a home filled with laughter and understanding. It can be waking up with purpose. It can be watching each other accomplish things that once seemed impossible. It can be creating memories that become more valuable with every passing year. That's the kind of future worth preparing for. So while I'm preparing for that future, I hope you're preparing too. Not by becoming someone you're not, but by becoming stronger in who you already are. Keep learning, keep growing, keep discovering what matters to you. Build your confidence through action. Protect your dreams without allowing fear to control them. Because when opportunity finally arrives, I don't want either of us to be standing there, wondering whether we're ready. I want us to be ready. I want us to have already done the difficult work. I want us to have learned how to communicate, how to handle uncertainty, how to recover from setbacks, and how to keep believing when progress takes longer than expected. Because the biggest opportunities in life don't always announce themselves. Sometimes they appear quietly, and only people who have prepared themselves recognize what they are looking at. Maybe that's why this future feels exciting to me. Not because I know exactly what will happen, but because I know there is still so much that hasn't happened yet. There are conversations we haven't had, places we haven't visited, challenges we haven't faced, victories we haven't celebrated, lessons we haven't learned, dreams we haven't even discovered yet. And that is the beautiful part. We don't need to know every detail today. We only need to keep moving toward becoming better versions of ourselves. We need to remain open to possibility, We need to understand that a meaningful future isn't something we simply find waiting for us. It's something we help create through thousands of small decisions. So, my future wife, wherever life is taking you right now, keep becoming stronger. Keep believing in your potential. Keep building the person you want to become. Because I am doing the same. And when our paths finally meet, I don't want us to look backward and say, we settled for what was easy. I want us to look at everything we've built and know that we dared to believe in something bigger than we ever imagined. The best chapter hasn't been written yet. If I'm asking you to get ready for something big, then I have to be honest about something first. I have to get ready too. I can't expect a great future while refusing to become the person capable of building it. I can't talk about dreams, growth, stability, and a meaningful life if I'm not willing to put in the work before that future arrives. So, while you are living your life, chasing your goals, learning about yourself, and becoming stronger, I want you to know that I'm doing the same. I'm not sitting around waiting for the future to magically change everything. I'm preparing for it. Preparation doesn't always look impressive from the outside. Sometimes it looks like waking up and doing the work when nobody is watching. Sometimes it means learning from mistakes instead of making excuses for them. Sometimes it means becoming more disciplined, more patient, more responsible, and more comfortable with uncertainty. Because I've learned that wanting something and being ready for it are two completely different things. You can want success, but are you prepared for the responsibility that comes with it? You can want a beautiful relationship, but are you prepared to communicate when things become difficult? You can want a great future, but are you willing to build the habits that can support that future? Those are the questions I want to answer through my actions. I don't want to become successful and then try to figure out how to become a better person afterward. I want the character to come first. I want the discipline to come first. I want the mindset to come first. Because when the opportunities arrive, I don't want to waste them because I wasn't prepared. And that preparation isn't only about career or achievement. It's about becoming emotionally mature enough to understand that another person isn't coming into my life to complete me. A future wife shouldn't have to carry the responsibility of fixing everything inside me. I have to take responsibility for my own growth. I have to know how to listen. I have to know how to admit when I'm wrong. I have to know how to communicate instead of disappearing into silence. I have to know how to stay calm when life becomes complicated. And I have to understand that love isn't just something you say when everything is easy. It's reflected in patience, respect, consistency, and the way you treat someone when there is nothing to gain from it. That's the kind of preparation I'm talking about. I want to build a future where both people can bring their strengths, their dreams, their ideas, and their individuality into the relationship. I don't want you to arrive and discover that you have to give up who you are to fit into my plans. I want us to create plans that have room for both of us. Your ambitions matter. Your ideas matter. Your happiness matters. Your growth matters. And if someday our lives become connected, I want that connection to make both of us stronger, not smaller. That's why I'm preparing myself now. I'm working on the things I can control. I'm learning to be consistent. I'm learning that progress doesn't always happen quickly. I'm learning that some opportunities require years of preparation before they become visible. I'm learning that setbacks don't automatically mean failure. Sometimes they are information. Sometimes they show you what needs to change. There will probably be moments when I get things wrong. There will be days when I doubt myself. There will be plans that don't work. But I don't want to run away from those moments. I want to use them because every mistake can teach something. Every difficult season can develop something. Every delay can reveal something. And every challenge can prepare you for a responsibility you haven't reached yet. Maybe that's one of the biggest differences between simply dreaming about a future and actually building one. Dreaming gives you a picture. Preparation gives you the ability to turn that picture into reality. So while you're becoming the person you're meant to be, I'm becoming the person I need to be. Not perfect, not finished, just committed to growth. I don't want you to meet a version of me who has stopped learning. I want you to meet someone who is still curious, still ambitious, still willing to improve, and still willing to admit that there is always another level to reach. And I want the same thing for you. I want us to challenge each other in healthy ways. I want us to encourage each other when confidence gets low. I want us to celebrate progress without becoming arrogant. I want us to stay grounded when things go well and resilient when things don't. Because if something big really is waiting for us, we have to become big enough, not in ego, but in character, to handle it. The future doesn't need us to be perfect. It needs us to be prepared. And that preparation starts now. There is something I want you to know before we ever build a future together. Your dreams will matter to me too. Not because I expect you to have the same dreams I have, but because I believe that when two people care about each other, they should care about what gives each other a sense of purpose. I don't want a future where one person's ambitions become more important than the other's. I don't want you standing beside me while quietly putting your own dreams aside. I don't want you to look back years later and wonder what could have happened if you had been given the space, encouragement, and confidence to pursue what mattered to you. If we ever build something together, I want both of us to have room to grow. You may have dreams I don't completely understand at first. You may want to learn something new, build something of your own, travel somewhere you've never been, develop a skill, create a career, help other people, or simply become a version of yourself that feels more confident and fulfilled. Whatever those dreams become, I want to listen. Because supporting someone doesn't mean pretending every idea is automatically perfect. It means being willing to understand where that person is coming from. It means asking questions. It means encouraging them to think bigger when fear is holding them back, while also being honest when something needs more planning. That's what real support looks like. I want us to be able to sit down and talk about our goals without feeling like one person's dream is competing against the others. Instead of asking, whose dream comes first? I want us to ask, how can we build a life where both of us have the opportunity to pursue what matters? Sometimes that may require patience. Sometimes one person's opportunity may require more attention for a season. Sometimes plans will have to change. Life rarely follows a perfectly balanced schedule, but balance doesn't always mean everything is equal every single day. Sometimes balance means knowing when to support the person beside you because their moment has arrived. And when your moment arrives, I want to be the person who tells you to go for it. I want to see the excitement in your eyes when you talk about something you care about. I want to see you challenge yourself. I want to see you become more confident because you took a risk and learned from the experience. And if something doesn't work, I don't want that failure to make you believe you weren't capable. I want you to understand that one disappointing result doesn't define your potential. You can try again. You can change direction. You can learn something new. You can discover that the dream you once had isn't the dream you want anymore. And that's okay too. Growing together means giving each other permission to evolve. I don't want us to become trapped by old versions of ourselves. The person you are today may not be exactly who you become 5 years from now, and the same will be true for me. We should be able to change our minds, discover new interests, and develop new ambitions without feeling like we are betraying the person we used to be. That's part of life. And maybe one of the greatest things two people can give each other is the freedom to become more fully themselves. I want our relationship to be a place where you feel encouraged to bring your ideas to the table. If you have a business idea, let's talk about it. If you want to learn something difficult, let's figure out how you can start. If you have a goal that scares you, let's break it into smaller steps. If you have failed before, let's look at what the experience taught you, instead of using it as proof that you should stop. I don't want to make your dreams smaller, so they fit comfortably inside my plans. I want us to make the plans bigger, because maybe together we will see possibilities that neither of us could see alone. That's the exciting part. When two people are committed to growth, they can become a source of strength for each other. One person may see an opportunity the other didn't notice. One may have confidence when the other is struggling. One may bring creativity while the other brings patience. One may encourage action while the other reminds them to think carefully. Different strengths don't have to create distance. They can create balance. And I want to build that kind of partnership. I want to celebrate your victories without feeling threatened by them. Your success wouldn't take anything away from me. If anything, it would make me proud to know that the person beside me is becoming everything she worked to become. And I hope you would feel the same about my dreams. There may be times when my goals demand patience from you. There may be moments when I need encouragement. There may be days when something I'm working toward feels impossible. I hope I can trust you enough to share those moments honestly, without pretending everything is easy. That's what I want from our future. Honesty instead of pretending, encouragement instead of competition, and growth instead of limitation. Because something big isn't truly big if only one person gets to enjoy it. The greatest future is the one where both people can look around and say, "We helped each other become who we were meant to be." So wherever you are right now, keep dreaming. Don't shrink your ambitions because you're afraid they might be too much. Don't abandon something meaningful simply because it takes time. And don't believe that your future has to look exactly like someone else's. Build the life that means something to you. And when our paths finally meet, I hope we don't ask each other to give up our dreams. I hope we ask each other how we can help make them possible. Your dreams will matter to me, because you will matter to me. I don't want us to build our future around fear. I don't want us to look at a difficult goal and immediately decide that it's too ambitious, too complicated, or too far away. If we're going to build something meaningful together, then I want us to become comfortable thinking beyond what feels familiar. I want us to look at possibility instead of constantly looking for reasons something can't happen. Dreaming big doesn't mean believing that everything will automatically work out. It means being willing to imagine a better future and then having the courage to work toward it. There is a difference between having a fantasy and having a vision. A fantasy asks you to hope for something without responsibility. A vision asks you to see something that doesn't exist yet and then start figuring out how to create it. That's the kind of dreaming I want for us. Maybe we'll have goals that seem enormous when we first talk about them. Maybe we'll look at where we are and realize there is a long distance between our current situation and where we want to be. But distance isn't always a reason to stop. Sometimes it's simply a reminder that the journey will require patience. Every major achievement begins as an idea that didn't exist in reality yet. Someone had to imagine it first. Someone had to believe it was worth attempting. Someone had to take the first step before they knew exactly how the last step would look. And that's what I want us to remember when we face something that feels bigger than us. We don't have to solve the entire future in one day. We just have to take the next intelligent step. If we want to build something meaningful, we can start small. If we want to reach a difficult goal, we can break it into smaller goals. If we don't have the knowledge we need, we can learn. If we don't have the experience, we can gain it. If we make a mistake, we can study it and adjust. The fear becomes powerful when we treat it like a final answer. But fear doesn't have to make the decision. Sometimes fear is simply telling you that something matters. Maybe you're afraid of failing. Maybe I'm afraid of failing. That's normal. But I don't want either of us to spend our entire lives protecting ourselves from every possibility of disappointment. Because if we only choose what feels safe, we may also miss the experiences that could have changed our lives. I want us to be thoughtful, not reckless, ambitious, not careless, courageous, not blind. Dreaming big doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means respecting reality enough to understand what needs to be done to change it. If we want a better future, we have to build better habits. If we want financial stability, we need discipline and responsibility. If we want meaningful work, we need to develop useful skills. If we want a strong relationship, we need communication, trust, patience, and respect. If we want freedom, we have to accept the responsibility that comes with it. The dream gives us direction, but the work gives the dream a chance to become real. And I want us to be willing to do that work. There may be people who don't understand our goals. There may be people who tell us to be more realistic. Sometimes their advice may even be useful, because good ideas still need good planning. But I don't want someone else's doubts to automatically become our limits. We should listen. We should think. We should learn. And then we should decide for ourselves what is possible. I want us to create a future where we don't measure our lives only by what other people think we should have. I want us to ask whether we're proud of the direction we're taking. Are we learning? Are we growing? Are we helping each other? Are we becoming more capable? Are we creating something meaningful? Those questions matter more than appearances. And imagine what could happen if we both approached life that way. Instead of saying, that's impossible, we could say, what would it take? Instead of saying, we can't, we could ask, what do we need to learn? Instead of saying, we're not ready, we could ask, how can we prepare? That change in thinking can completely transform the way you approach the future. I want you to challenge me too. If I start thinking too small because I'm tired or discouraged, remind me of the bigger picture. And when you're the one who starts doubting yourself, I hope I can remind you of what you're capable of, not by making empty promises, not by pretending every road will be easy, but by helping you remember that difficulty doesn't automatically mean impossibility. There will be setbacks. There will be delays. There will be plans that need to change. There will be moments when we have to start again. Starting again isn't always failure. Sometimes it's wisdom. Sometimes the strongest decision you can make is to recognize that one path isn't working and choose a better one. That's how big dreams survive. They evolve, they adapt. They become stronger through experience. So when I say, get ready for something big, I don't mean that we should sit around waiting for some magical moment. I mean, we should prepare ourselves to recognize opportunities, take calculated chances, learn quickly, and keep moving toward a future that genuinely matters. I want us to look at the years ahead with curiosity instead of fear. There is so much we haven't experienced yet. There are places we haven't seen, ideas we haven't discovered, lessons we haven't learned, and possibilities we haven't considered. We don't know exactly where this journey will lead. And, honestly, that's part of what makes it exciting. We don't need every answer today. We just need enough courage to begin. So let's dream beyond the limits of our current circumstances, work patiently toward what matters, and never let fear convince us that the future has already been decided. Let's be brave enough to imagine more, and disciplined enough to build it. If we really believe that something big is ahead of us, then we have to understand something important. The big moment usually comes after the quiet work. Before people see the result, There are countless hours of preparation that nobody notices. Before the opportunity becomes visible, there is usually a period where you are simply learning, improving, trying, failing, and trying again. That's where I want to focus, because it's easy to become excited about the future. It's easy to imagine the destination, picture the success, and think about how amazing everything will feel when the goal finally becomes reality. But the future we want isn't built by excitement alone. It's built by what we are willing to do when the excitement disappears. There will be mornings when motivation isn't there. There will be days when progress feels painfully slow. There will be moments when you wonder whether all the effort is actually worth it. Those moments matter because they reveal whether the dream is something you genuinely believe in or simply something you enjoyed imagining. I don't want us to be people who only work when everything feels easy. I want us to become people who understand the value of consistency. One small step may not look impressive today, but one small step repeated over and over can completely change where you are a year from now. Learning one useful skill, improving one habit, saving responsibly, reading something that expands your thinking, practicing when nobody is watching, taking care of responsibilities instead of avoiding them, having difficult conversations instead of pretending problems don't exist. These things don't always create an immediate dramatic result, but they build the foundation, and when the opportunity finally arrives, the foundation is what determines whether you're ready to handle it. That's why I don't want you to wait for the perfect moment to start becoming the person you want to be. Start now. Whatever your dream is, there is probably something you can do today that moves you one step closer. You don't have to know every step. You don't have to have every answer. You don't have to be completely confident. You simply need to begin, and if the first attempt doesn't work, learn from it. If the second attempt doesn't work, learn again. If the plan needs to change, change it. The goal isn't to prove that your first plan was perfect. The goal is to keep improving until you find a path that works. That's a different way of thinking about failure. Failure doesn't have to be the opposite of progress. Sometimes failure is part of progress because it gives you information that success couldn't give you. It tells you what needs to change. It shows you where your weaknesses are. It forces you to think differently. And if you respond correctly, it makes your next attempt stronger. I want that mindset for both of us. Because if we're going to dream big, we need to understand that big dreams come with big responsibilities. We can't expect extraordinary results from ordinary effort. That doesn't mean working every second of every day or destroying ourselves trying to prove something. It means being intentional. It means knowing what matters and consistently putting energy into it. There is a difference between being busy and being productive. There is a difference between being exhausted and actually making progress. I want us to learn that difference. I want us to work intelligently, rest when necessary, reflect when something isn't working, and then return with a better approach. Because the goal isn't simply to work harder. The goal is to become better at the work. And that's something that applies to our future together too. A strong relationship doesn't magically appear because two people care about each other. It requires effort. It requires listening. It requires patience. It requires understanding that two different people will sometimes have different opinions, different moods, different expectations, and different ways of approaching problems. The relationship becomes stronger when both people are willing to work through those differences respectfully. That's preparation too, learning how to communicate before a major challenge arrives. Learning how to support each other before life becomes difficult. Learning how to celebrate each other's progress without turning everything into competition. Learning how to disagree without losing respect. These are the quiet forms of hard work that builds something capable of lasting. And I want us to remember that when life eventually gives us a bigger opportunity, maybe the opportunity will come in our careers. Maybe it will come through a project. Maybe it will come through a new chapter of life. Maybe it will simply be a moment when everything we've been preparing for suddenly becomes possible. Whatever that moment looks like, I don't want us to be surprised by responsibility. I want us to be ready. Because preparation creates confidence that motivation alone cannot create. When you've practiced, learned, planned, and developed your abilities, you don't have to pretend you're fearless. You can simply trust the work you've already done. That's a powerful feeling. You can walk toward the opportunity, knowing that you may not know everything, but you have prepared yourself enough to learn what you don't know. And that's the kind of confidence I want us to build. Not confidence based on ego. Confidence based on preparation. So while we're waiting for the big moment, let's not waste the waiting. Let's use it. Let's build. Let's learn. Let's become stronger. Let's make mistakes and use them. Let's keep moving even when nobody is applauding. Because someday, when the opportunity finally arrives, people may only see the moment. They may see the result. They may see the success. But we will know about all the quiet days that came before it. We will know how much preparation made that moment possible. And when that day comes, I want us to be able to look at each other and say that we didn't simply wait for something big to happen. We prepared ourselves to make something big happen. The big moment begins with the quiet work we choose to do today. There is something powerful about being ready when the right moment finally arrives. Most people spend a lot of time hoping for an opportunity, waiting for circumstances to change, or wishing that the perfect moment would somehow appear. But the truth is, we don't always get to choose when opportunity arrives. What we can choose is whether we're prepared when it does. That's why everything we've talked about so far matters. The dreams matter. The preparation matters. The hard work matters. The courage to think bigger matters. Because none of it is only about what we're doing today. It's about becoming ready for the possibilities that haven't appeared yet. Maybe the right opportunity won't look exactly the way we expected. Maybe it won't arrive with a clear sign saying, "This is the moment you've been waiting for." Sometimes opportunity looks like a conversation, a new responsibility, an unexpected idea, a difficult decision, or a door that initially looks too small to matter. That's why preparation is so important. When you are prepared, you can recognize possibilities that you might otherwise overlook. You can look at a challenge and see an opening. You can look at uncertainty and ask what you can learn from it. You can look at a new opportunity and understand what needs to happen next. And that's the kind of mindset I want us to develop. I don't want us to spend our lives waiting for perfect circumstances. Perfect circumstances may never come. There will always be something that isn't ideal. Maybe the timing isn't perfect. Maybe we don't have all the information. Maybe we're nervous. Maybe there are risks. But sometimes you have to make the best decision you can with what you know, and then learn as you move forward. That doesn't mean being careless. It means understanding the difference between waiting because you're genuinely preparing and waiting because you're afraid to begin. Those are two completely different things. Preparation should eventually lead to action. If you spend forever preparing but never take the step, preparation becomes another form of hesitation. So when the right moment comes, I want us to recognize it. I want us to have enough courage to say, "This may not be perfect, but this is worth exploring." Maybe we'll have to step outside our comfort zone. Maybe we'll have to learn something quickly. Maybe we'll have to accept that we don't know exactly where the decision will lead. That's okay. You don't always need certainty before taking a meaningful step. Sometimes you need clarity about your direction and courage about your next move. And I want us to give each other that courage. If an opportunity comes into your life, I don't want fear from the past to decide your future. I want you to look at it carefully, think about it, understand the risks, and then make a decision based on what you genuinely believe is right for you. And if you decide to go for it, I want to support you. Not by making the decision for you, not by telling you what you have to do, but by reminding you that you are capable of thinking, learning, adapting, and growing. That's what support should feel like. The same goes for me. There may be moments when I need to make a difficult decision. There may be opportunities that require courage. There may be times when I feel uncertain about whether I'm ready. I hope that instead of giving me empty reassurance, you remind me of the preparation I've already done. Sometimes we don't need someone to tell us that everything will work perfectly. Sometimes we just need someone to say, "You've worked for this. Think clearly. Take the next step." That's the kind of partnership I want. A partnership where we don't hold each other back because we're afraid of change. A partnership where we encourage thoughtful growth. A partnership where we understand that opportunity often comes with responsibility. Because when something big finally arrives, it may demand more from us than we expected. It may require new skills. It may require better time management. It may require stronger communication. It may require us to become more disciplined than we've ever been. But that's exactly why we prepare before the moment arrives. We don't become ready by waiting. We become ready by practicing. We become ready by learning. We become ready by making mistakes before the stakes become higher. We become ready by developing the habits that allow us to handle responsibility without losing ourselves. And that's why I don't want us to fear the future. I want us to respect it. The future is unknown, but unknown doesn't automatically mean bad. It means there are possibilities we haven't discovered yet. There are things ahead of us that we cannot currently see. There are opportunities we haven't encountered. There are people we haven't met. There are lessons we haven't learned. There are versions of ourselves that haven't been developed yet. And somewhere within all of that uncertainty, there may be something extraordinary waiting to be built. So let's not waste today worrying about exactly when tomorrow will arrive. Let's use today to prepare. Let's keep learning. Let's keep growing. Let's keep working toward the things that matter. And when the moment finally comes, let's not ask whether we are perfectly ready. Let's ask whether we've prepared enough to take the next step. Because perfection isn't what opportunity requires. It requires courage, awareness, preparation, and action. And if we have those things, we can face the moment together with confidence. Not because we know exactly what will happen, but because we know we are capable of handling what comes next. The right moment may arrive unexpectedly, but our preparation doesn't have to. When opportunity knocks, I want us to be ready to open the door. When we talk about something big, it is easy to imagine the exciting parts. We imagine the opportunities, the achievements, the places we might go, the things we might experience, and the kind of future that makes us feel hopeful. But there is another question that matters even more. Can we build something that lasts? Because I don't want our future to be impressive for a moment and then disappear. I want it to have substance. I want it to be built on things that remain valuable when circumstances change. Successes can change, money can change, plans can change, even the direction of life can change. But character, trust, respect, and the ability to grow together can become the foundation that carries people through those changes. That's what I want us to focus on. Building something that lasts doesn't mean creating a perfect life where nothing ever goes wrong. It means creating something strong enough to survive imperfect moments. There will be disagreements. There will be misunderstandings. There will be stressful days. There will be moments when one person feels tired while the other has more energy. There will be times when our plans don't work. That's normal. The strength of something isn't measured by whether it never faces problems. It's measured by how it responds when problems appear. If we want something lasting, then communication has to matter. We need to be able to talk about things before they become bigger than they need to be. We need to be able to say when something bothers us without turning every disagreement into a battle. We need to listen even when the answer isn't what we hope to hear. Listening is more than waiting for your turn to speak. It's trying to understand. It's asking, why does this matter to you? It's being willing to see the situation from another perspective. And sometimes it's admitting that you misunderstood. I don't want us to measure strength by who wins an argument. I want us to measure strength by whether we can solve the problem without losing respect for each other. That's a much bigger kind of victory. I also believe that trust has to be built through consistency. Trust isn't created by one dramatic promise. It's built through small actions repeated over time. Doing what you said you would do. Being honest when the truth is uncomfortable. Keeping your word. Respecting boundaries. Showing up when things become difficult. Giving someone the confidence that they don't have to constantly wonder where they stand. Those small things may not look exciting, but they are powerful. They become the foundation underneath everything else. And I want our future to have that kind of foundation, because dreams alone aren't enough. We can dream about a beautiful future, but we still have to build the habits that support it. We can talk about success, but we still have to learn responsibility. We can talk about love, but we still have to practice patience. We can talk about loyalty, but we still have to demonstrate it through our choices. The future becomes real through behavior. That's why I don't want to focus only on what we might achieve. I want to focus on who we become while achieving it. If success makes us arrogant, then we haven't truly succeeded. If ambition makes us forget the people who matter, then we have lost something important. If achievement makes us stop learning, then the achievement has become a limitation. I want us to stay curious. I want us to continue learning from each other. I want us to be able to celebrate progress without believing we've reached the end. There will always be another lesson, another challenge, another opportunity to improve. And that's not something to fear. It's something to embrace. I also want us to understand that building something lasting requires patience. Not everything meaningful happens quickly. Some things take years. Trust takes time. Skills take time. Cares take time. Dreams take time. People take time to grow. We shouldn't expect ourselves to have everything figured out immediately. Instead, we should ask whether we're moving in the right direction. Are we learning? Are we becoming more responsible? Are we treating each other with respect? Are we creating better habits? Are we making decisions that our future selves will be proud of? Those questions can keep us grounded. And when one of us struggles, I don't want the other person to immediately see weakness. I want us to see an opportunity to support. There will be moments when you need encouragement. There will be moments when I need it too. Being strong doesn't mean never needing anyone. Sometimes strength means being honest enough to say, I'm having a difficult day. And sometimes love means being willing to listen without immediately trying to fix everything. That's how people grow together. Not by pretending to have no problems, but by learning how to face problems without turning against each other. And there is something else I want us to protect. Individuality. Building a life together shouldn't mean losing ourselves inside the relationship. I want you to keep your interests, your friendships, your ambitions, your curiosity, and your sense of identity. I want you to continue discovering who you are, and I want the same freedom for myself. Two strong individuals can build something powerful together without becoming copies of each other. We don't need to agree on everything. We need enough shared values to move in the same direction. while still respecting the ways we are different. That's what makes a future interesting. So when I imagine something big ahead, I don't only imagine success, I imagine something deeper. I imagine two people who keep choosing growth, two people who communicate, two people who respect each other's dreams, two people who can face uncertainty without immediately giving up, two people who understand that the most valuable things aren't always the things other people can see. That's the kind of future worth building. Because when everything else changes, what we've built between us should still have strength. Let us build something that doesn't just look beautiful from the outside. Let's build something strong enough to last. If there is one thing I want you to remember from everything I've said, it is this: I don't believe our best days are behind us. I believe the best is still ahead. Not because I think life will always be easy. Not because I believe every plan will work exactly the way we expect. And not because I think the future owes us anything. I believe it because the future hasn't been written yet. There are still choices we haven't made, lessons we haven't learned, opportunities we haven't discovered, and challenges that will reveal strengths we don't even know we have. That's why I don't want us to spend too much time worrying about what hasn't happened yet. I want us to prepare for it. Everything we've talked about leads to this moment. Dreaming bigger, preparing ourselves, supporting each other's ambitions, refusing to let fear decide our limits, doing the quiet work before anyone sees the result, recognizing opportunities when they appear, building something based on trust, respect, patience, and growth. None of those things are separate. They are pieces of the same future. And when I say, my future wife, get ready for something big, I don't mean that I know exactly what tomorrow will bring. I don't have a perfect map of the years ahead. Nobody does. What I have is a direction. I have a belief that we can keep becoming better. I have a belief that our circumstances today don't have to determine our circumstances tomorrow. And I have a belief that the future can become something remarkable when people are willing to work for it. Maybe there will be moments when you doubt yourself. Maybe there will be moments when I doubt myself. That's part of being human. But I don't want either of us to confuse a difficult chapter with the end of the story. One bad day isn't your future. One failed attempt isn't your identity. One disappointment doesn't erase your potential. Sometimes life forces you to change direction because the path you expected wasn't the path you needed. And sometimes the delay that frustrates you today becomes the preparation that makes tomorrow possible. So if something doesn't happen when you expected it to, don't immediately assume it will never happen. Keep learning, keep moving, keep becoming. There is still time for things to change. There is still room for unexpected opportunities. There is still space for dreams to grow into something completely different from what you originally imagined. And I want you to carry that mindset with you. Don't make your future smaller just because your present circumstances feel limited. Your current situation is a snapshot, not a final destination. The same is true for me. I'm not finished. You're not finished. We are both still becoming. And perhaps that's what makes the idea of a future together so exciting. If our paths eventually meet, we won't be meeting as finished people who have nothing left to learn. We'll meet as two people who are still growing. We'll bring our experiences, our lessons, our ambitions, and our mistakes with us. And instead of expecting perfection, we can choose progress. Instead of expecting certainty, we can choose courage. Instead of demanding that everything happen immediately, we can choose patience. That's how something meaningful can grow. I want you to know that your future matters even before our future becomes connected. Keep building your own life. Keep pursuing your goals. Keep becoming someone you're proud to be. And if one day our lives become part of the same story, I don't want either of us to stop growing just because we've found each other. I want finding each other to become another beginning. A beginning of new goals, new experiences, new challenges, new lessons, new reasons to become stronger. I want us to look at the future and realize that there is still so much left to discover. Maybe we'll accomplish things we once thought were impossible. Maybe we'll experience places we never imagined visiting. Maybe we'll build projects, businesses, careers, or creative ideas that started as nothing more than conversations. Maybe some plans will fail completely, and that's okay. Not every dream has to survive in its original form. Sometimes the process of pursuing one dream teaches you how to create another. What matters is that we don't stop moving. And when life becomes difficult, I want us to remember why we started. Not because everything was guaranteed, not because success was promised, but because we believed that building something meaningful was worth the effort. That's the promise I want to make. I won't promise that every day will be easy. I won't promise that there will never be uncertainty. I won't promise that every dream will happen exactly as we imagine. But I can promise that I will continue to believe in growth. I will continue to value preparation. I will continue to respect your dreams. I will continue to believe that difficult moments can teach us something. And I will continue looking toward what can be built instead of only looking at what has already happened, because the future deserves our attention. There is no reason to spend all our energy staring backward when there is still so much road ahead. So, my future wife, keep your heart open to possibility. Keep your mind curious. Keep working on yourself. Keep believing that your life can become bigger than the circumstances you see today. And when the time comes, I hope we can stand together and look at everything we've built with gratitude. Not because everything went perfectly, but because we kept going. The best part isn't behind us. It is still waiting to be created. And whatever comes next, let's be ready to build it.